Hey there, and thanks for tuning in. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the Payable Forms add-on for Google Forms and show you the basics for making a payable form. Payable add-ons are available in the Google Workspace Marketplace. If you're a user of Google Forms, you probably already know how easy and effective it is as a free tool to create any type of online form, order form, event registration, any type of internet-based data collection that you want to do. You can quickly and easily create a Google form with no programming knowledge whatsoever. You can customize the rules and the logic, change the logos and the colors. It really is a powerful and accessible tool. What Google Forms is missing out of the box is the ability to accept payment as part of your form submission, which is where the Payable Forms add-on comes in. It allows your Google Forms to request and accept money for you automatically. Additionally, it updates the link to Google Sheet with the order details, so you don't need to manually keep track. Sound too good to be true? Let's go through a quick demo. I'm going to create a new form at forms.google.com, although you can install Payable on an existing form you're using. This one's going to be for my personal training business. The description I'll keep simple and say, buy your training sessions here. Generally, the ease of this is to work like you usually would. So if you were making a training request form, some information that you might want to know about the client would be their name. For my next question, I'll ask, what is the best phone number to reach you at? And the third question could be, what training package would you like? And this is where the Payable add-on can automatically take the values that you write and turn them into an invoice. So for the first option, I'll create a single session priced at $75. My next option will be a group session for max 4 participants at $45. And my third one will be a package of 10 single sessions for $700, offering a discount. One last option is I'm going to create a subscription item, solo weekly training session at $65 per week, because with Payable Forms, you have the ability to create a subscription and recurring charge. With this option, once the customer pays for their order, they will be billed weekly for the $65 item. To learn more about this Payable feature, I've linked to our tutorial video on subscriptions here. When creating a form, you may want to customize the look of it to suit your taste or your branding. So we'll use the theme settings already within Google Forms. Clicking the Artist Palette icon, you can choose from different fonts for your form's title, the questions, and text. I'm going to choose a header image, so I'll click Choose Image. And you'll see Google has a pretty extensive image library to choose from, or you can also upload your own photo. For this form, I think I'll find something in the Sports and Games section. This looks good. When you set an image, Google automatically creates a few color palette options, so let's set those colors. And here's my personal training form, pretty straightforward and easy. So to get to the Payable add-on itself, what you need to do is click on the little ellipsis, and you're going to go down to Get Add-ons. Click here and search for Payable Forms, our add-on for Google Forms. Here it is, so we're going to install it. Make sure you're installing it to the correct account if you have multiples, which if you do, I recommend working in an incognito browser window. It will ask you for several permissions. These permissions allow us to listen to form submissions and update the attached spreadsheet, and also to send order confirmation emails to your customers. Agree to those permissions and it will install to the Google account. And now it's going to welcome you to Payable Forms. As you go through the welcome flow here, the most important thing is that you double check to make sure your language, home country, and currency settings are correct. These allow us to understand how you might format your payable amounts. If you're using euros or GBP, for example, you would be using different currency markers, and with different languages, your decimal separator or currency symbol placement may be different. Confirming these settings, you'll then be shown an example of how your payable line items need to be formatted, given your currency and language settings. You can see here on the right-hand side, the Payable Forms sidebar has popped open. If you're ever missing it, you can get back to your add-ons by clicking up the top toolbar on the puzzle piece. In the future, when you're looking to make more payable forms, the add-on is already installed to your account, so just start at the add-ons puzzle piece to make a new form payable. So now in the sidebar, we're going to go through the Getting Started setup steps to set up the add-on. Clicking the first step of Auto Configure Form and Sheet does several things. You'll see in a second as the add-on works. We added an email collection input to the form. This is so we can send the responder their order summary. We changed the Google Form confirmation message and add a unique checkout link to it, set a destination response spreadsheet, and enable your form to accept multiple responses from users. If you click the See Connected Sheet button, it will open the Google Sheet we've connected to your form. You can see the purple columns at the top of your form are for your form questions, and Google plugs in this response data. And then you'll see the payable columns we've inserted that the Payable Add-on will automatically read and write to for each submission. We've got the order ID, total, payable status, and once paid, the payment method, a transaction ID, and the date of payment. The next step is to sync theme, but before we can do this, the form needs to be published. Google Forms is rolling out a new user interface with this purple Publish button. If your form is not published, it can't be shared with anyone, so this is a key step. So click on Publish in the Google toolbar, then under Responders, click Manage. Under General Access for Responder View, this needs to be set to anyone with the link. Then click Done. Lastly, click on Publish. So now back in the sidebar, we'll click on Sync Theme. With this, we take any theme settings you've configured, like the header image, form title, description, color palette, and fonts, and sync it with your checkout page. If you click on the Show Me a Preview of My Checkout Page button, it will show you a preview of how your checkout looks, and you'll see that it reflects your form stylings. If ever you need to make changes to these aspects of your form, just hit the Sync Theme button again to push those changes to your checkout page. The third step is to connect a payment provider. You need to connect a payment provider in order to process payments. When you click on this button, it will open the current payment provider options we have. Square and Stripe are both great options for individuals and businesses. PayPal Standard works well for any individual, while the PayPal Commerce platform offers more advanced card capabilities. We have a detailed PayPal video on our channel that can show you these two PayPal options in greater detail. So I'm going to connect my Square account, and this will redirect me back to my form after asking for some permissions if you've not granted third-party permissions before. Once complete, you'll see the details of your connected account here, and back in the form, it will appear in the Connect a Payment Provider modal window. There you go. And you can see now it also appears in the sidebar. So we know that's taken care of now. We don't need to add a sample payment section because we've already set up the payable questions for this form, but I'll show you what this step does. The add-on's working to insert a variety of sample questions to your form. So if you just close this window and scroll down, you'll see we've inserted a variety of sample questions for you to demonstrate how payable questions need to be formatted. So you've got multiple choice, a sample of subscription questions with the different recurring frequencies, a sample of a checkbox field question, a drop-down item, which is great if you have an item that you want to offer a lot of quantities or varieties on. A checkbox grid option is great if you're pricing merchandise where you have, say, a quantity and size variable. And you'll see the quantities for these questions are priced individually. If you want to sell quantities of 1, 2, 3, etc., you need to price them out individually. And the last question is a user-specified amount question. These are super popular for donations or pay-what-you-can type of setups. We have an article in our support library that will walk you through the couple of steps to properly format this question in a short answer for your form. Since I don't need these questions, I'm just going to go ahead and delete them by clicking on the trash icon. Now the last step is to click the Make This Form Payable switch to complete the add-on setup. With this complete, the add-on will start automatically analyzing new submissions for dollar amounts and emailing the form submitters. When setting up a new payable form, testing mode is on by default. Test mode allows you to use our test payment account or sandbox to make fake financial transactions on your form. Take note that since you're using our test accounts, when in test mode, your checkout may not reflect your locale. For example, the test cards provided will require a zip code, when in reality, your live checkout could have a postal code input instead. Now we'll make a test transaction so that we can see the complete user experience and ensure our form is looking and performing as we want. So let's give it a try. Click on Try Your Form Now. Now we're viewing the form as if somebody were to fill it out. I'm going to input the responses to my form questions. Now when the form is submit, you'll see where we change the form's confirmation message. We've insert this message. Your response has been recorded. Payment is required as the next step. Use the link below to continue. Now we get asked this a lot. Users write in and ask, how can I make it so that when my form is submit, the customer immediately goes to checkout? Unfortunately, this is just not possible. It's a limitation of Google Forms that developer scripts cannot run on the Google Form pages themselves. All the customer needs to do after submitting your form is to click the checkout link to transition to their order page. And now you'll see the invoices tallied the payable options I selected and calculated the amount owing. And since this form is in test mode, we've got some test cards here and the test payment gateway set up. None of this is real, it's all just fake money. If a customer ever enters real payment data on a test checkout page, no real financial transaction occurs. You'll notice this contact details field is already filled in with my information, and that's because of my cookies and saved data stored in my internet browser. When you are viewing a checkout page, be it for a test order you placed or just looking at invoices your customers generate, depending on your browser settings, these fields may display your contact information. There's nothing wrong, it's just your internet browser pre-filling these fields with your saved information. When a customer views their checkout page, it may be pre-filled with their data or blank if they have cookies disabled. So now I'll check the spreadsheet for my form, and you'll see that the submission has been logged here with my responses. And you'll also see a payable order ID has been generated for this order, what the order total is, and what the order status is. Checkout started means that the checkout page has been viewed but no payment made. Paid will note a paid order, and if you ever issue a refund, which is done through your payment account, the order status would become refunded. We have a comprehensive list of the payable order statuses in our support library. So let's do a test transaction using the test Amex provided here. As I mentioned before, you're using our sandbox account when in test mode, so if your locale would call for a postal code instead of a zip code, don't worry. Your checkout page will reflect that when you're live. For the purpose of testing these cards, you can enter any zip code. I usually go with the famous 90210. Now I'll click Pay, and you can see the test payment has been processed, and the payable invoice has now become a receipt. And the receipt now includes transaction information like the payment ID, the payment date, and the payment method used. Referencing the spreadsheet, the payable order status has been updated to paid. The payment method, transaction ID, and the time the payment was last updated have been recorded. The spreadsheet will help you keep track of your orders, whatever other response data you're collecting, and payments as you receive them. If you look to the payable order ID, you'll see that it links to the checkout page for each order. If ever you need to send someone the link to their order page, you can just grab this URL up here and share it with them. So that's the process to setting up a simple payable Google form. Whenever you're satisfied with testing your form, be sure to turn off test mode before sharing it. And speaking of sharing a Google form, to get the share link, click the copy responder link icon in the toolbar. Here's the responder link for your form. You can shorten it if you like. Just copy that and you're ready to share it with others and start collecting payments. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to explore our YouTube channel and support library to learn more about payable features like payment reminders for unpaid orders, setting up subscriptions or installment payments, promo codes, and more.